Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's hop right into this. So the PS5 actually had a keynote yesterday where they basically talked about some of the specs of the system. And let's go ahead and basically compare this to the Xbox statistics that have already been out there for a little while. So I have a chart here that basically puts them side by side where we can actually compare them. So the first category is price. So obviously right now we don't know the prices of the systems, but I feel like it's probably going to be in the $500 to $600 range. Processor, we're pretty much neck and neck. We have the AMD Zen 2. It's pretty much the exact same thing between two systems right here. GPU, the AMD RDNA 2. So once again, very similar. Just very minor differences in terms of the GPU here. So we got a 10.28 teraflop with a 12. So it's not really like a huge difference. Memory, we got the exact same 16 gigabytes. Storage, the PS5 is actually going to have less physical storage on there with 825 gigabytes. Now, the reason why it's such a weird number is because Sony is actually making the SSD themselves, so meaning that it's going to be a little bit smaller, so it's going to fit in the system, be easier to cool and everything, but it is going to have less actual physical storage on the SSD versus the Xbox has 1 terabyte, which I found it kind of weird that they wouldn't go 1 terabyte considering the PS4 Pro, the one that I actually own right now, is already 1 terabyte. So it just feels weird to go like back in terms of physical storage, but not a huge deal. Optical drives, they're both going to have 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray players, which is huge because nowadays that's kind of like the standard in terms of you buying like physical media. So for me, I have I think like 30 4K Blu-rays, something like that. And it's going to come in handy that I can watch them on either system. And once again, either system, meaning I am going to buy both of them. There's no real, like deciding factor for me. Like I'm not swinging Sony or Microsoft for the system. I'm just going to buy both and then I'll make a full review after. But anyways, back to the chart here, guys. We got 4K support, of course. That's like the new industry standard as well. So they're both going to support 4K regardless. Especially since 4K TVs are kind of like the norm now. Then 8K supported, so they do support 8K, but there's almost like nothing 8K out there. There's like barely any 4K TV, there's barely any 8K games, there's barely any 8K really anything content wise, so that's not really going to matter for at least maybe like 3 or 4 years, so don't get worried about that whatsoever. HDR support, both have it, so that's good, so it can upscale things and make them look a little bit better on whatever you're playing them on. The ports on the Xbox, so we got 3 USB-A's, we have HDMI out, optical audio, and proprietary memory slot. So keep in mind that proprietary memory slot is going to be huge just because the physical storage. So I saw in a few pictures that the Microsoft might actually sell like their own little SSDs that you can like store games onto and everything, and like data from the actual Xbox, which is going to be really cool because the PlayStation hasn't really announced anything like that, but I think it would be smart business-wise if Sony and Microsoft had their own, because obviously us consumers are going to buy them because chances are we're playing a lot of games and we need a little more storage than 825 gigs or 1 terabyte. So I think it'd be really smart if they made these little units where you can actually just like insert them into the actual console and put all your data onto that, take it out and swap them between whatever games you want to play. I think that would be really cool. And then the last two categories here, so weight and dimensions, not really important at all. As you can see, they don't even really know any of those stats right now besides the dimensions of the Xbox One X, which really, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be vertical, so you're going to have to put it somewhere, not how you would traditionally put it, which is horizontal in like a drawer or like a little shelf thing on your TV stand, but it's going to be interesting, some people having to display this console. But basically the PlayStation 5 is going to be much faster than the PS4 Pro, and the Xbox Series X is going to be a little bit more powerful. Now, performance and powerful, you know, they're kind of touchy subjects because you can go like either way. The Xbox Series X is going to be more powerful, which basically means it's going to cost a little bit more money. Now, the PS5, I think, is going to outperform it just because of how many sales they've actually had with the PS4. Almost everybody I know owns a PS4 and does not have an Xbox, so that just kind of tells you like all those people have invested all their time into their PS4, whether that's like digital games or add-ons or, you know, just simply playing the game for years and getting trophies. That kind of stuff is gonna carry with them to the next generation. And for me personally, I play my Xbox barely ever. It's really to play the Xbox exclusives. That's pretty much it. So like Halo, Gears of War, those kind of games. And then open world games that I don't really play like with friends, that are like online games. So basically the opposite of online games. The way that I personally do it is I use my PlayStation for like performance games. So like online multiplayers like Call of Duty, even sports games like FIFA and NHL. But I use my Xbox for like more immersive games. So I'll basically plug that into like my 4K TV behind me, sit on the couch and play a game on the big screen, versus PlayStation is on the monitor, which is behind me over there, for more like performance stuff like I just said. So guys, basically I think the Xbox Series X is just slightly better in terms of like a console on paper, but I think performance wise and overall like enjoyment wise, I think the PlayStation is going to take it home, just solely based off the fact that so many people have invested so much time and money into their previous PlayStation device that I think it would just be not really a good financial decision to almost like start over with a new device. Like me personally, I have over 1,000 trophies on PlayStation and I have all my friends on it, and for me to just basically hop to Xbox only, that would just not be as fun. There would be like no one to talk to, no one to play games with, and I think that's where Xbox is really going to struggle with their sales on the Series X. Now, something else that's very, very important to talk about is they said that the Series X was a special edition for the newer Xbox. So what does that mean? So what I'm thinking that means is there's going to be like a base model, which is going to be maybe a little bit closer in terms of price to the PlayStation 5, but basically sacrificing a few things here and there in order to hit that price point. And then I think the Series X is basically like the PS4 Pro of the new generation Xbox, if that makes sense. But who knows? We don't really have like super solid details on any of this stuff. It's kind of like, you know, every once in a while they'll release something and then they'll release another thing, so it's not really like set in stone. I can't go on like Best Buy's website and go to pre-order it and see all the specs. Both of these consoles are just going to be absolute beasts for the next generation of gaming. I am going to be picking both up, so I'm going to do unboxings and reviews for both of those, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But the future is looking bright, and I am super, super excited to play the new Halo game that's going to be bundled with the Series X. I'm a huge, huge Halo nerd, so it's going to be awesome to be playing that. I cannot wait. And who knows, with the PS5, there's talk of maybe having the new Spider-Man game bundled with it, depending on if it's done or not. Or shortly after it comes out, the Spider-Man game will come out like within a year, so I'm super, super excited to play that on the PlayStation. But guys, at this point, do you guys see a point of getting like one or the other, or are you just kind of like getting both and then just using them both? Because realistically, they last for like 6 years on average, roughly. So why not just get both, and then you don't have to ever deal with, you know, should I get this one or this one? Like, it's going to last you years, and it's going to put a lot of time in there. So I think it's going to be worth it to possibly even just get both if you can or if you want to. But yeah, guys, this is the end of the video. Leave a comment down below of which one you guys want, or if you guys are getting both like myself. Super, super excited for this next generation of console gaming. Thank you for watching once again, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you smash the subscribe button and like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.